There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. That's what Hamlet said. In Hamlet, we were discussing consciousness, and Shakespeare, whoever that may be, uh, advises us that it's thinking that will determine whether something is good or bad. And this sounds obvious, but I don't think most people go beyond superficial thoughts. It is sort of obvious, but is it really obvious to you in your own life? And to what level is thinking the essential element in what is either good or bad, or what exists, but thinking makes it so. Now, we talked about consciousness, and we talked about, would you kill Hitler if he's watching Wagner? And what I was trying to do was prompt an inspection of the nature of our actions. And then also we had the Tao teaching, where it's very clear that cleverness and abstract thinking is where problems come in, and that's because you put value on things. So another way to put this is that there is no value except but thinking so, right? I wrote a long time ago that what was I talking about? A Norman Rockwell painting just sitting by the side of the road. Somebody left it there. It's worth nothing. It has no value. It's just, it's in the alley behind the store. I got like a little mustache here. Okay, I need to shave. And so what is the real value for an oil painting? Is there any value? Let's see, how much value is put into it? A couple of dollars of oil and a nice frame, and so $10, okay? But this particular painting could be extraordinarily moving to some people. I always find his paintings are moving, and of course the literati of artistic world would poo-poo such things as Norman Rockwell. So the value of that painting it comes from the observer and what the artist depicted in two dimensions that the observer sort of reacts to in their three-dimension, four-dimension world. That's the value. It's like, oh, this is beautiful. Let me think of one. So there's one where it's a working class group at a town meeting in the former America, and one guy's standing up, and the audience is kind of like looking at him. It's a New England kind of town. He was mostly, I think, in Arlington, Vermont. That's where his museum is. I think he spent time there, and the guy was saying something. You don't know what he had. His hat folded in his hands, and he was standing in sort of an erect and positive way, but also maybe a little bit uncomfortable speaking, and he's explaining something about whatever the issue is that the town is talking about. This actually evokes all kinds of emotions in the viewer, or it should, but it's just some oil. So where's the value in that? Again, this thinking makes it so. So we go back to what's good and bad. Thinking makes it so. If you're walking along the street and some guys, maybe I should plan these things better. Some guy's working on his house and he's hitting nails or something, and a piece of wood slides off the porch and comes down and clunks you in the head. A little piece of wood hits you in the head. Oh, and you go, geez, Of course, if you're from downstate, you want to go find the lawyer. But most people will go, "Hey, what are you doing?" Hey, and the guy apologizes, and everybody shakes hands and waves and says goodbye. That guy didn't do anything intentionally, and he probably was heartbroken intentionally. So, but if somebody's just they're having a rally in one of those Western cities where they have like all the tent cities and things, and some guy comes running up to you and hits you in the head with a board, that's intentional. Okay, it's evil. There's something wrong there. Well, is it intentional? So there's always layers of things, but the first point is intention is what makes it makes the value. So maybe the lunatic who comes up and they want to whatever free the whales or whatever. They want to bang you in the head for some reason because that's what they do. It is an intentional act, and that's a bad act. Now, on the other hand, they could be lunatics, or just so programmed they're martinettes, mannequins, whatever they are. They're just going around hitting people for no particular reason other than they're just not sophisticated, and they actually think they have something, some right to do that. Now, if they actually think they have a right to beat you in the head, well, now we got an interesting conflict of intentions or introspections. They're thinking they're doing something good by hitting you in the head and telling you to leave the whales alone. And you and most normal people would say they don't have the right to hit you in the head, and what they're doing is wrong. So you have the creation of law and justice, and the whole principle here is that it all comes down to an analysis of intention. What's intention? Well, it's somehow entwined with consciousness. Okay. If someone is deciding something is a good, that's consciousness. We still don't know what it is, but it's a word we all use, and that's very typical of our modern day world. We use words and we don't really know what we're talking about. We know what we're talking about, but we don't know precisely. Other people kind of hear what we're saying, but it's not precise. There's no precision in the world. So what's a good example of that? Precision of the word. Hamburger. So what's a hamburger? I don't know if this is a good example or not, but we all know what a hamburger is. They used to sell hamburgers at McDonald's. It's this nice piece of chopped meat from a cow, and so what is a burger? Do we know? Do you know what a hamburger is? First of all, it's not ham, and second of all, the word burger is a shape. So we think of hamburger, we think, well, it's beef in a hockey puck shape, and it's on a bun. That's just because thinking makes it so. The word burger just is the shape. You can have a turkey burger, you can have a poopy burger. That doesn't matter. It's the shape. But these are things that are lost in etymology. We've lost track of the meaning of words, and this is especially true, I am informed, many times, in studying let's say the King James Version of the Bible, where the words that we all quote are completely misunderstood. For example, the word hope. I'm not going to go into that. That's another story. The hope that you and I ordinarily think about is not what was meant. So where did we go? We're talking about consciousness, and I want to keep these things short, but the thing is, underlying everything that we do as humans is consciousness, or the lack of consciousness, which actually is not the same thing as just being like dull or robotic or whatever. It means you have consciousness, but you're not using it. But that's a bit esoteric. So, what is consciousness? We're going to have to look at that. What does it mean? Does it mean that you thought about something? Kinda. Does it mean that you understand something? Yeah, kinda. Does it mean what you're thinking about in how it participates in the world? Where does it fit in? What are the effects and the causes? Yeah, I'm part of that. So it's a very interesting word that we use all the time. Okay, and we have to pin down words as best we can, and sometimes we can't. And consciousness is kind of one of those things. But we all have a feeling of consciousness. You think you're conscious. Why? As I said earlier, the reason you think you're conscious is because you can think about consciousness. You sense that you're able to know things, and you sense that you're able to understand effects and causes, and you sense the intentions behind actions and words. So consciousness is kind of interesting, and it is the magic foundation of human activity. All right. Now, I don't know to what level other mammals are conscious. I sometimes think they are, to some degree. And if you watch some of those little internet things about animals, they're pretty cool. What's that elephant? You can look it up. It's on Google. Look up elephant that paints, Paints. And you'll find this little elephant that uses the trunk, grabs the brush, and will actually dip into various colors and do a nice impressionistic painting of what it's looking at. So it knows about shadows and leaves and grass and relationships and dimensions. Wow, it sure seems like consciousness, doesn't it? So at a certain point, our words always get nebulous. This is always true because, again, remember we were defining things by their opposites. So that's kind of good. Big, small, I mean tall, small, pretty, ugly. These are defining each other. And in this little constructed world of concepts that we all use are vagaries. And we just kind of like blink and wink and let the vagaries go by because it's really difficult to pin down what you're talking about. And of course, it's in those areas where you have like conflict. What did that actually mean? What did something mean? Some people say one thing, some people say the other. And there you go. That's why lawyers exist. So, so we got consciousness, attention, all right? Thinking makes it so. In the Lao Tzu, in the Tao, they talk about cleverness is actually not good because it takes you away from your natural animal entity, your actual being. They think of, all right, here comes a major one. We're animals. You and I, we're animals. We're mammals, we're animals. Okay? Animals, mammals are essentially tribal. It's a default scenario. We're tribal. It's a survival scenario probably. We follow the alpha male who's strong and going to take care of the tribe, and we don't really care about what the tribe's doing as long as it's our tribe. So starting at that level, you can see that the nonsense that goes on in politics when the tribal aspects of human nature are at play, it's nonsense because it's like my country, right or wrong. Like, but this is true. It's my tribe. I grew up in that tribe. I have the same paradigms. I was educated. I love all these people in the tribe. Therefore, if you're in that other tribe, and let's say our leaders in my tribe and our alphas don't like that tribe, we don't either. And you don't have to have any reason for it. You just don't like them. You know, it's not even prejudice. It's stupidity. Every time I talk, okay, stop for a second. So we're making assessments intentionally of, let's say, other people, and we just don't like them because they're in the other tribe. Where do we see that? Lord, what's that book? The kids in the airplane crash. Well, let that go. Lord is in there. Lords of the Fly. Lord of the Fly or Lords of the Fly. And it's a book about a plane crash and a bunch of kids, and they wind up separating into two different groups. And it's almost irrational, but it's not, because it's tribal and it's a part of our nature. And they become two different kinds of people who are now contesting against one another. And this is exactly what mammals do. All right, so we're mammals. Okay, the next level that you have to understand is we're mammals that have an extraordinary ability to abstract and think about things. So here we are here, mammals, but now we got here, okay? And we haven't lost our tribal instincts at all. But what's happened is we've transferred them to abstract thoughts. Our abstract thoughts are defining a tribe our intellectual tribe. I call it Homo Meteoria. We'll get into that someday. Homo Meteoria is thinking man, abstracting man, as opposed to the animal which I call Sylvia, or Silva, Homo Silva. So that's your basic forest man. So forest man exists on top of, of the forest man is the basis of the abstract man. It is, it's pure it is. So the same thoughts and instincts come to the abstract, and now we have prejudices and all kinds of tribal conflict on an intellectual basis. What? These things aren't even real. Like, like today you see all kinds. You see it in politics a lot. The leftist subversive types who think they're socialists, they just hate what they've been told is like bad because it has to do with individuals, and they don't like constitutional law. They want to be socialists. They want to use the law to basically take things and share them, which of course is nonsense, and it's all controlled by the alpha males who tell the subversives how to think. They say, well, you know, we should all share everybody's money, and I'll just take a little bit, you know, I'll take a taste as we're working on that. So you all right? So now you're a I'm going to call you a leftist or progressive. You're a tribalist, and you hate those other people who are actually like growing the food, making the cars. You hate them. Why? Because they're not in our tribe. Think about that. And the people over there who are in Oklahoma making food for everybody else, they're really ticked off at the people who like pretend to be humans in New York City and Los Angeles, but who are just tribalists. They're just like using abstract ideas of, say, Marx to control others. That's what it's all about. They're controlling others so they can take a piece of the action, right? The people over there in Oklahoma don't like that. And these are two different tribes. And there is no reconciliation between these tribes. In time of crisis, they'll work together, maybe. So right now, things don't look good. Our Constitution has kind of been neutralized methodically for decades. So the average individual who's a farmer and wants to take care of their family, they're kind of in a weak position. That's the way it's going to be. But why? And the only difference is but thinking makes it so. So if you have a Marxist abstract philosophy, or you're demented, and you have over here a libertarian philosophy, which is not capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system. Libertarians just want to be left alone, follow the law. They don't want too many laws, but they will follow the law if the law keeps everything in order, and you can have a nice day and make contracts and work and grow crops. Over here, people will use the law to control them. Okay, because these people know those people will follow the law, even if they don't like it, until it breaks. All this stuff is but thinking. So your entire life that you are running around in is an abstract illusion. You think you see things, and you think you hear things, and you think you understand things. It is illusion. First off, you have a frame of reference built upon filters that were given to you as you grew up, or as you went through schools. Like in public schools now, they have these bizarre filters that they don't make any sense, but when you're 22, that's just all you know. So, so these filters create homo meteoria. At the same time, we're all still down here trying to eat, you know, and having families. But the homo meteoria is like a real problem. And the people who are very good at this easily control everybody else, easily. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. A lot of people get all confused and how could the government do this? How could the Justice Department be corrupt? How could the FBI be corrupt? Easy. You just have a couple of people who are writing the checks at the top, and they tell Gene, go do that. And Gene does it. He doesn't even know why, but he knows has a job to enforce the law, and he goes and does it, not understanding that what he's doing is nothing to do with real interest in law. I realize this is going to be confusing. So the point is, we're an animal who can abstractly learn. And we learn things, and we create filters, and we have camps that we fall into, we feel comfortable with, all right? And these guys down here, my pride of lions doesn't like your pride of lions, because you're interfering with your eating neighborhoods. Up here, same thing. Let's call them the Marxist types. They're over here, and they're trying to eat, you know, in the landscape. And over here, there's other people. They don't follow what these people are doing, so they're enemies. But it's all in the head. It's abstract thinking, and there's no evil, but thinking makes it so. I think this probably is a new way to think for most people. So think about this. And I'm going to stop here rather than go on and on. I can just go on and on and on. So if I get paid by the word, this would be great. Wait a minute, I'm not getting paid. So I'm going to stop here with my iMovie. Here I go.